Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have a special treat for you guys today. It's a 2v2 on Mudfight, and I'm taking the very best deck in existence. That's Finland National, and of course, more than just Finland National, this is Finland Armored. So we have Elite Charioteers, the best tank in the game. At 15 points, we have Veteran T72 M1 mods, two of them headed up and forward, and my ally here, very long username, this was a public lobby that I started, so I don't know Arminius or Blaston or a very long username, and we'll have to see how this goes. Tornado F2 leading the way, and that is going to be a little bit of a deep dive for him, as my I-296s had their guns off. They're going to stop, turn those online, and while he does get an Alouette, that's going to be traded for a Tornado F2, so I was kind of happy with that. You could argue he does get a lot of value out of denying my aerial recon, which certainly does hurt. But I've got some fast-moving recon going up and also some support from username here. And, well, this could be a good thing. Let's also see mostly Arminius' units on this side, pretty much entirely. Usually what you'll see is people will double in Dimitri. You don't have to, necessarily, but it is sort of a common play. And so my CC are unloaded. I'm a little bit out of position. I couldn't quite get the shift Q to work quite right. And I was really surprised to see double STRV 103C. These guys are the 80 pointers. 13 frontal armor is not exceptional, and 15 rounds a minute is pretty wonderful, but they're very specialized at killing chaff and, well, killing things like my CC in the open, which they do a wonderful job of. If not for my ally Spetsnaz Gru and my own CC here, we'd be in a little bit of trouble for recon, but Spetsnaz Gru having this town is a very nice start for us. Meanwhile, my ally has been fighting over in Fetter, and this is actually my defense ping just because we saw these guys, Royal Marines 90, not the most common pick that you'll ever see, but still a terrifyingly strong unit when you do see it, as well as some SBS and an entire column headed down here. So it seems like their intention was to have one guy in Dimitri, one in Fetter, take Fetter, make us fight there, while Arminius here, who, both of these players are unranked, but I believe Arminius had something like 4,000 games. Holy, that's a dead plane. Yeah, wow, okay. Down you go. Nice. He had something like 4,000 games, so not a new player by any stretch, and, well, there was also some flanking going on. So the HKP-4C from Arminius and an MI8 MTV from username, just sort of monkeying around over there. The Grippen's probably going to go in and get him. Oh no, evac bingo. Huh. So we get some nice kills at the start in Dimitri. We take down a couple planes, and my charioteers are just going to be moving back. My mods have gotten a couple kills. It's very nice. But we're going to smoke this section. I need some more infantry chaff if I can get it. I want ATGMs already on the way in BMP2s. Bit of an expensive choice for this, but I wanted them up here in the town, zoning all this out before I start to advance, just to make sure that we can catch some people and make sure that we're not overextending ourselves, which I've done on Mudfight way too many times. Plus, we also did have some worries here over on the right-hand side. It looks like Blaston has gotten rid of a fair amount of my allies' units over on the right there, and so I'm sending some reinforcements his way. That's going to be Raskazin Korima in BMP-1s, as well as some standard Yakari in BTR-50s. I just take the standard downvet, well, not downvet, but the not new tech, the old tech versions, in the BTR-50 for the additional availability in this deck, just because chaff is chaff, and they're slightly better than militia, so why not? It's 5 extra points, it does add up. But hopefully they also have more staying power. So, a couple of pings on fobs. I don't tend to hit fobs, though, so we're not going to be shooting at that. Besides, I didn't yet have artillery, just because getting all this on the ground headed over to the right is a little bit of an investment. Now, PT-76Bs, we saw these the other day when Boundchica Outrun was using my channel on an in-house, which I reviewed from his perspective. By the way, world's luckiest T-64BV, look at this. Dodges 1, 2 more coming in. He's not hidden. That one should have been a side shot if it had landed. And yeah, just not a lot of contact there. Dead striker, 40-point kill, not bad. So more reinforcements arriving as TV-103Cs, but as I was saying, these guys for 15 points, they give you good recon. They have a small size. They still have the D56T gun, which, while not exactly powerful, can kill infantry in the open, which basically allows them to deny any sort of infantry sneak on different flanks. Maybe not forever, certainly not if supported, but for a short term until you get something better to fix it. Now my charioteers getting a bit ahead of themselves. STRV 103Cs will definitely take those guys out, but I kind of wish that I'd seen 103Ds. They're a bit more expensive, but not that much, I think about 10 points, and they're much higher performance tanks, so I sort of have to wonder if it's just a pet favorite unit from Arminius. Plus, not opening with 121s, you can see how that sort of resulted in relatively uncontested M1 mods. The whole reason I'm being a little cagey right now is because we've already seen a cluster attempt come in on these guys. It did miss, but you have to be aware of that. You have to be very careful with something like that. Make sure you have smoke on your tanks, but also around your tanks. That way they might go for the wrong position, and you can sort of have some options when you're deciding where to retreat back to. So, spike teams getting a couple shots on the way, and the mods are actually going to be getting the kills here. Let's see. Yep, that's 1 and 2. Nicely done. Bit of a pat on my own back there, I do apologize. I was congratulating the tank mostly. It's an interesting take. 21 frontal armor is great, 23 AP power is great, 70% accuracy, amazing, 4 HE power, cool, no complaints, 40% stabilizer. So a lot of people don't like this tank because when you're retreating out of an engagement and you still want to shoot, your accuracy drops like a rock. It's really a bit of a problem. By the way, Aito is still getting more kills, not enough ammunition for the Draken. I'm not sure where those missiles were going, a little bit drunk. But we also have resupply already on the way, and we're going to be moving these guys just so that we don't get counter-batteried quite yet. Players who are really looking for it will immediately artillery on top of last known positions. I did it the other day against Honda Hun, took out 2 very expensive 90-point AA pieces there. So, Warrior Milans back in this side. These guys, 25 points, decent armor too, 6 frontal, 5 side, 2 back, 2 top, and the Rarden, while not exceptional, is still decent. The Milan F2, of course, hits really, really hard if it can actually land. So we're going up and around, trying to get kills here, and then I think we haven't missed it. I do call in an Avia, which, not the best idea. Ooh, there's already a crater. Yeah, we missed it. I apologize. The Avia on that side, oh, here it comes again, is not going to get the most kills, and I'm just letting my ally know, hey, I'm bombing this. That way he doesn't move anything in. T80U is getting a little danger close. Let's see if he stops, or if we, yeah, so he's pulling back. Try not to bomb your teammates too often. A little ping like this tells him a lot. If I just done an attack ping, he could take that as a suggestion that I'm telling him, you know, go forward, attack this position. I'm not. I was actually telling him to get back and away. So at this point we have a CV buy for Anna. We have a CV buy for Dimitri as well. Mine and Dimitri, my allies, and Anna, 2 and 2. Always does help. I think the spirit of teamwork here to keep it somewhat even for that. Although if someone's having a really good game, someone's having a really bad game, you can try and take some of the stress off your ally by providing it for them. And we get a little too close, so my Alouette 2 is going to get shot down by the Fusiliers and Royal Marines, just getting, yeah, there's no need to go that far. I probably could have kept the helicopter about here and still gotten relatively good vision on those guys. But BMP 1Ds at range will definitely kill these guys with the AGS-17's 3 grenade launchers. Very, very nice stuff. We're also getting some nice fire on Fallskärmjägeri. Very expensive, very low ability, well, low availability compared to line and other sort of infantry like that. If we can get kills on recon shocks, great, I'm all for it. But we're just also moving back because I don't want them to kill my tanks, and my Jägeri in there can definitely sweep up a damaged group of shock recon infantry. So these guys are more cost efficient because you're not paying additional for the optics. And I mean, the recon shocks perform about like the 15-point shocks you'll see in a couple of factions, except for 5 points more. It's a bit of an issue. Chieftain Mark 11s, I think Blaston, who has been playing over on the right, was trying to help out his teammate here, but the mods are going to have a field day on that, just taking a couple of snacks on these chieftains as they prevent side armor, and then finally front armor there, but more than enough armor piercing. Very, very good. And you can see I'm bringing in more charioteers, trying to keep a lot of chaff in my front line, which... it's Finland national. I don't have the most tools at my disposal. It was just sort of a bit of a, let's see if I can make this work. Let's see if I can bring in something unorthodox. I've played a lot of meta decks lately. I've played a lot of Eurocore, particularly in tournaments. And it's one thing to have a good game with a deck where you have all the right tools that you need. It's just a matter of using them correctly. And it's another where you're kind of You're testing the waters, doing some unorthodox troop picks, some different force compositions you might otherwise see, and yeah, this is pretty standard with the T-72 M1 mod and the Aito 96 in the opener. Very, very standard, one might even say. But the rest of it is a little bit different, so nobody really takes downgraded Jägeri unless they're looking for just availability and chaff. You might see it in mechanized, but who takes Baltic mech? Baltic Moto is everyone's pet favorite if they are going to take a specialization for Baltic, so this is just a little different. So these Su-57-2s at 25 points are very, very nice. 2,800 meter range, 2 HE power. Not entirely sure about their burst characteristics and their reload speed, but they're getting work done. That's a decently high strength helicopter. Not the most deadly, but still high strength. And Avia coming in once more to just clean up the rest of these Fusiliers and any infantry that might be in that section still. So Yekri pushing forward, and we will be clearing that out. Spetsnaz VMF are... I don't really take them. I know a lot of people love them. They do have exceptional stealth, which is the best stealth that you can get in this game. Even for infantry, most recon shocks are going to be very good stealth, not exceptional. And there is a significant difference. Now finally we also see an STRV 121 coming into center, so we have to be a bit careful there, and I really need to get more forces this way as opposed to the Avia buy and some of the other buys for the right hand side. I mean, the Pion, 75 points, I thought it was pretty crucial if they were pushing us with Warrior Milans on that side and many infantry pieces, well, infantry units behind them. But now we need to push forward into Feder. We need to take this section of woods, which is why I'm pinging that as well. Just saying, hey, clear this out, get into that section of woods, let's move the front, make it so that Feder isn't a danger zone, and then, frankly, we can afford to sit. So I'm not particularly hurried in my preparations for the Dmitry push, because we have Anna, we have... we have Feder, and we have Dmitry. We have +2 tick on Mudfight, which is notorious for being a map where it's very hard to get that sort of tick. So the fact that we're able to clear out both of these mostly comes down to being able to repel the Feder side. So our opponents basically said, okay, we're not going to even try for Anna, we're going to try for Dmitry, we're going to try for Feder, and then if they won in Feder, they could win in Dmitry, if they won in Dmitry, they could win in Anna. That's sort of how the dominoes go. STRV 121 taking out my charioteers, and that's why you just bring more of them. We are getting a couple of nice kills in response, so it's not for free. We are trading into those woods decently well. And then the mods coming up force that guy back, and my smoke is already on the way. We can see a second cluster pattern here, was looking for them earlier, and that's the absolute last thing that I want to lose these mods to, although losing them to anything is not exactly high up on my to-do list. I do also need more resupply, and we're getting shot from something we can't see in that main section of forest, which means my recon's not sufficient. And that kind of makes sense. These guys only have good optics. They're not really going to be able to see infantry from this far away. I probably should have snuck some recon infantry up into this section and up into here already, and I just didn't. I tend to be a bit lazy with that. It's definitely one of the flaws in my style of plays. I just don't have enough recon infantry that survives far enough forward. We'll work on it. We'll get better at things like that as time goes on. So, Avia dropping in just to sort of send a bit of a message, to make a little bit of a statement, try and get a couple more kills there, and the BTR-50s just following up to see what shoots at them. And if anything does, and if we can spot it, we have the 57-2, we have more charioteers, and we have more infantry now arriving, as I do want to push this center bit of forest. I figure much easier to push the forest than the town over on this side. I've actually been kind of surprised there haven't been ATGMs from here. Seems like a little bit of a not too surprising choice if you do lose this much of Dmitry. Put some ATGMs, prevent your opponent from doing what I'm doing now and rushing right down the pipe. Because if I get into center and we get a +3 tick on this map, sorry, then that is going to be really, really pretty unrecoverable for the Blue 14. I think also they're clearly prepping for things. The STRV 121 buy is expensive, and I think they were just setting up a really good defensive position here, but that might not have been the call that I would have gone for. And the reason is, as I said earlier, Mudfight, you need tick, and it's hard to get tick. So they really need to be contesting one zone or another all the time, and I think maybe once Dmitry was lost, there was still an opportunity for them in Feder. Had Arminius switched over into Feder instead of trying to build up a really expensive defensive line really far back. So I wasn't pushing either. I wasn't trying to take advantage of that. I was trying to salvage this situation. So if we turn this into a 2v2 where they have an advantage, yeah, it's close to our air spawn. It's going to be a little hard for them, but it wasn't unrecoverable at that point. Tornado F2 does get the drop on my F-18C, so that is a little worrisome, but we are also pulling him in yet again to those 96s. Swing and a miss, I think, no, we landed 1, landed 2, down it goes, another 115 point plane kill, and another air superiority fighter for my opponents that has been lost. So, we have Yekri up and forward. These probably should have been Yekri 90, I was just bringing them in the cheaper transports, and relying on charioteers to get the longer range kills that the Yekri really can't do with those. I mean, still not terrible. 13 AP power, 20 RPM launchers. It's not the worst. And we did get a couple of kills there with the charioteers. just sort of being a nuisance in the middle of the board. So, Telek 91 has been called out, and just trying to use him on long-range targets, specifically looking for recon, for anti-air, things like that, and the 27k going after a 103C. By the way, nice tank split. Yeah, that's what made this guy turn, I think. But this is 135 points seeking after two 70-point tanks. I have to kill them both to get the return. And when we have two T-72 M1 mods right here, probably not the best to go in after that, and the plane does die as well. So, bit of a wasted trip. Nice tank split. Sure. There are a number of exploit things like that in this game, and there are worse, but that one is one of the most hated, I think, just because ATGM planes are very expensive. So, just handle it on the ground, right? Those tanks can't kill my mods. It's not like they're super heavies, things like that. One other comment I would have made for my own side, we should be pushing up into Anna now. There's no need to have all these guys behind this line. We should just be moving through the woods on this side, getting around, getting through here, and making this whole section uncomfortable, because another way of attacking this town, if you have Anna, is to do it from two directions. So if I get some cheap chaff and push through from this town into theirs, and then at the same time we have some fire support vehicles here, we have a couple of units of infantry crossing here, that's a nearly 180-degree arc that we can attack in from, and that's going to be very, very difficult for them to defend against, even with high-quality infantry that's going to get shot from afar and stunned and pushed out of this town. In fact, it's really not my favorite town. There's a lot of edge zones, and then the middle zones have very little visibility out, except for maybe right here. So, Sea Harrier FA2, but my ITO 96 is off, and we're going to wait that out. Should be stopping. Yep, they're stopped. Waiting for that Sea Harrier to go just a bit more, turn them on, and not sure why. I think we're having to turn to track, but my allies AA and my F-18C are able to take that thing down. So that's a Sea Harrier, 120 points, I believe. Not quite sure on the seaplane version of that, but another good kill there. And the SU-57-2 is providing my close-range anti-helicopter work, although not super effectively. You have limited options as this particular deck, so yeah, make do with what you got. Now, this was a mistake. My ITO 96s are moving up too far. There's no need to be this far up. And although I was trying to dodge artillery, I actually draw some fire here. So we take some shells, and these guys are expensive, 85 points apiece. And they've treated me very well. I should have treated them better, as I do lose one, and the other one's going to be moving back pretty soon. F-18C just sort of circling to deny any sort of bomber runs or other sorts of follow-up. Also a bit of a microlapse on my part, because I don't usually let them get that low on fuel. Fuel does add additional time before the plane's available again, and well, it can add up quicker than you think. So BMP-2s fighting against Warrior Milans, and this was partially just a combat test for me. We do get them, but it took two BMP-2s and I'm nearly dead. So pound for pound, the Warrior does seem like it can take these guys, which, fair enough. And I know people kind of make fun of the Warrior a little bit, just compared to other options like the Martyr 2 for 5 more points compared to the Warrior 90. I'd take the Martyr 2 every time. But they're very different units, and then, yeah, I should have expected Fusiliers 90. Yeah, well, it's dead BMP2. Double stack of 121s behind the section of trees. They can't really do much here, and that's entirely fine with me. So I'm pulling back my mods. I'm pulling in more infantry because I did sort of divert them a bit more than I'd like, and the Panzerjäger 90 are what I intend to kill the 121s with. So these guys have Apple loss. They have 23 AP power, 20 rounds per minute. They're not the most cost-effective killing infantry, but they can pound in to even the armor on a super heavy, which is very, very nice. Let's see, have we had... Yeah, I think we missed a little bit of drama in the back here with a base attack from the Blue 4 team, but we were able to fend it off. I do have more 57-2s in the back, and their high armor does save them a lot of grief here. And then some Spetsnaz from Very Long Username, just trying to make sure there's no infantry back there anymore. So, at this point we see a striker. My artillery piece has been shooting in for quite a while, and strikers are tempting targets. Yeah, they're armored, they're only 40 points, but those swing fires, don't underestimate them. These guys are so cheap, they'll upvet very quickly. And that 22 AP power, yeah, that's nothing to scoff at. It's quite nice. F3, by the way, from Blaston and the Gripen. I'm curious why they had such a heavy air presence this game. If you notice, we had the Avias, but they were, well, I had an Avia. It was only over here so far, and then one time up there, and I don't even think it really killed all that much. So maybe a little bit of an overbuy for defense. Probably would have been better off just getting some ground-based AA, kind of like these 96s. I do already have one on the way to replace it, but we got artilleried on our way in, which was very annoying. I actually think I actually lost some transports there too. Yeah, one of the BCR-50s. I just leave these Jaeger here, just, yeah, additional base defense. Totally planned, right? But the 121s are in the section of forest now in the middle. And yeah, I don't know. I wish my mods were closer up. I would have had a shot there. We're moving them up now, but definitely not great anticipation on my part. It happens. Out of position, just trying to play cautiously when I probably shouldn't have. We had a pretty decent advantage on these guys, but never take it for granted, and cautious play will reward you so long as you don't start to lose too much. And that's really why I'm criticizing myself for this right now. I was losing things because I didn't have fire support in position, and then I lost the recon AA piece over there because I wasn't paying attention. So it was getting a little bit crazy. I was trying to push over here in the forest on the right too, because this just was making me nervous. It's hard if I push here and they have ATGMs in this section of forest, I just get ATGM'd on the side, and there goes my mod. So that's part of why I was attacking on this end, and I'd kind of wanted my ally to do that as well, and he is. It's just taken him a lot of time and a lot of troops. So these are 2 BUs that he didn't have, that he bought before starting to push this side after we cleared out all of those units from Blaston. I would have said probably could have gotten away with doing that maybe, 8-9 minutes earlier, just with the BV and the T80Us that he had here as well. 150 points each. This is a lot of investment in tanks, and yeah, I would have put maybe 150 points in infantry, gotten one of the BUs, and then pushed up into it, maybe with a couple other cheaper tanks as well. But there's a lot of Motostrelki on the ground. Yeah, Motostrelki 90, Motostrelki 90. Good spread from the VMF and the Iglis, though. Very cautious play, and definitely a good thing to do when your opponent has access to Lynx 3s. So, seed plane, yeah, well, no missiles on that, so can't really shoot in there. And then not getting that Challenger 1 Mark II was a bit of an annoyance because we could have had 2 strength left. I needed to have ATGMs up on this side. I just didn't expect them to have tanks like this. So you're going to see in just a second I make a bit of a mistake. I see those. I'm moving over. I have smoke on the side, but not enough. I'm getting killed by a 103C, which is revenge for me ragging on them earlier on. So I didn't have smoke. T72M1 mod only has 10 side armor, and they can pop that at a very high rate of fire. So I was hoping for a kill on the Mark II. I don't get it, and I have to retreat out of here trying to avoid that 103C, which hopefully we'll get some revenge on. Let's take a look. 1, 2, yeah, but it doesn't make up for the mod. I only get 2 of them in this deck, despite being an armor deck, and I haven't really called out any paves either, which definitely was something I'd wanted to do. In hindsight, I almost wish I'd taken the 3 paves, 4 paves in the opener, just kind of for the laughs of it. We might do that here pretty soon if you guys want to see something funny. Seeing 4 of a tank that nobody ever uses right in the opener. So Arminius does surrender here, T80Us on the right hand side, clearing that out, Yekeri getting forward and taking out those Rover RBS 90. I tend to find, by the way, these guys will engage things like the Rover with their tertiaries. I like to turn off the tertiary and sneak up and get hit with the law, but I lost my element of surprise because I hadn't already started with that, so could have been better. Let's take a look here right as this game is ending at some of the MVP units on my team, which, very sad I didn't keep both the mods alive, but one mistake can cost you. Whole game of cautious play right up until the end there, and with the double availability and the extra points, Blaston is just kind of throwing things forward. We take him out, take out the Fusiliers and the Warriors, and this is going to be all she wrote. So, I have a sneaking suspicion about, oh yeah, paves at the end. 2,233 kills for blue, 3,734 kills for red, and my own KDE 2477 to 1510. Very happy with that, particularly for a Finland armor deck, which is not exactly meta, and the mods just did wonderful work. So lots of STRV 103Cs, chieftains, even infantry and IFVs when they had the opportunity. Quite a lot of 103Cs, by the way. One of these guys is, I believe, 165 points. And the 103C is 70, so we killed 2 of those, nearly paid for itself right there, and we even got a 121 on one of these guys. I'm not sure what killed the other one. But other things, charioteers. This charioteer killed some Fallskärmjägeri, that pays for 2. Great, awesome, cool, let's keep it up. BMP 1s, surprising return on investment there, although I think this was with support over on the right-hand side of the field. And the Ito 96s, no complaints at all about that as an AA piece. Very, very good. I do wish I had Ito 90s, just because that's classic Finland, but you make do with what you have. Telek 91, by the way, killed a Stormer, 2 Fusiliers, and got the last shot on the 121, the other one, so HE can kill super heavies if given enough time and firing at an already damaged target. Kinda goofy. Spikes, of course, no surprise there. Third 121 kill, and that I think that put the nail in the coffin there for the blue 4 team in this case. That's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you all for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.